Have you ever dreamed of selling it all and cruising into the sunset? Well, that's exactly what we did. It's no fun going it alone though, so why don't you join us for the ride? After an absolutely amazing 10 days in the Greek islands, we picked up a morning flight from Athens, Greece, off to Dubrovnik, Croatia. The flight was only about an hour and a half, and we crossed over the countries of Albania and Montenegro. The Dubrovnik airport itself is pretty neat. It's situated in a valley between some mountains and was pretty scenic. We arranged transportation from the airport to our Airbnb through our host, and it was only 20 euros. We were told to look for the gentleman with the pink shirt.
So we're here with our driver, Vedra.
Yes, Vedran Modric.
Modric, just like the footballer,
Yes,
famous
like,
footballer. What team?
Real Madrid.
Well, Real Madrid.
Yes.
Real Madrid. So he's going to take us to Dubrovnik, and we're looking forward to it. About what, 25 minutes to get there?
About,
About.
depending how traffic here.
And the way Vedra drives, maybe 5 minutes. I don't know. We'll see.
So one of the first things we noticed about Croatia, in contrast to Greece, or the Greek islands, was that it was green, very green, not as rocky and barren as Greece. The ride from the airport was really quite scenic as we boarded the Adriatic Sea and eventually started to get a glimpse or two of the walled city of Dubrovnik. Vedra was great, a little bit of a tour guide himself, and he took us to a nice scenic overlook so we can get some good shots of the city. One of the reasons that I've been excited to visit Dubrovnik is if you're a Game of Thrones fan like I am, it was the setting and backdrop for a lot of the scenes for the mythical place of King's Landing. In order to get into the walled city, you have to enter through one of 3 gates, and our Airbnb was conveniently located right near the Ploča gate. Look how thick the walls are. One of the most popular tours is the City Wall Tour, where you actually walk up to the top of the wall and you walk along the circumference of the walled city. So of course we had to do it.
So walking the Dubrovnik Old Town City Wall tour. A historic town, and then on the wall you have an American basketball court.
The views from the top of the wall were actually pretty amazing, and it's an excursion that I say is well worth it. In the distance here, you can see a small castle that was used as the setting for the Red Keep in the Game of Thrones. And there are actually a few areas where you could do some cliff diving into the Adriatic. Well, it wouldn't be island time if we didn't get parched after a little physical activity. So we found this nice little rooftop bar in the southern part of the city wall. It's certainly a popular and scenic spot, and we weren't the only ones with the idea. Hydration is good.
Cheers.
Feeling refreshed, we did the last part of the walk. All in all, I think it was we spent maybe an hour, hour and a half on the walk. Thankfully, there were no cruise ships in town, so it really wasn't that busy. Our city wall ticket included admission to a few museums. The streets of the old city were quite narrow, but were lined with shops and restaurants.
Dubrovnik in the morning is a stark contrast, and it's a much better time to be here. Though not a lot is open. The restaurants are definitely open, but it's
Sunday
before
morning,
everybody
too.
here. Oh yeah, it is Sunday morning, but I don't know. It's the tourists haven't arrived yet, but I'm sure they'll be here within an hour or two. So a nice morning in Dubrovnik. We have a 9:30 Game of Thrones tour. Looking forward to. So got to meet at a fountain near the Pile Gate, which is kind of behind us, about 200-300 yards, and get our little tour. Looks like it's gonna be a beautiful day.
Our Game of Thrones tour was about an hour and a half. Our tour guide was great, and he took us to a lot of the hot spots from some memorable scenes in Game of Thrones. This particular scene, it's in the shadow of the Red Keep. It's where Littlefinger and Sansa have a meeting. The setting for the Red Keep is popular as well, and they use it in other series. Vikings of Valhalla, I believe, is one of them as well. You can't always tour the castle, as it is popular for modern day weddings. And here you see a bunch of the crew that have to lug the supplies up and down the hill to get there. These guys are absolutely massive. From the Red Keep, you get some nice views of what would be known as King's Landing in Game of Thrones. The park where King Joffrey met his demise. And of course, no tour would be complete without the stairs of Cersei's Walk of Shame. If you're a fan, then definitely do the tour. There's actually a nice little beach just south of the walled city. There was a number of people there. We just didn't have the time to spend the day on a beach. After 2 days in Dubrovnik, we hopped on a ferry to head for the island of Hvar, about 3 hours north. The ferry seemed almost brand new, and we had a nice smooth ride up the coast. As you can tell, the coastline is pretty dramatic, rising up from the sea to some tall mountains. And it didn't appear too populated, with just the occasional village and church. The ferry stopped on our way at the island called Korčula, and it looked like it would be a nice little place to spend a day, though we didn't have the time on this trip. When we got to Hvar, we found the main port to be quite beautiful, and interesting to see that there was a fort at the top of the hill there, guarding the city.
You ready for Hvar? How far is Hvar?
Right here.
Right here. All right. Gonna get our luggage, find some lunch. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
Really? Excellent. You just tell me where to go, babe.
It was about a 10-minute walk to our Airbnb, but it was a nice walk, though we ended up hitting up a lot of stairs.
Lulu, where are you? Hvar. It's our apartment. Little closet area. Little kitchenette. The bathroom. A couch. King size bed. AC must have. And a beautiful view of the city, I guess. So up these stairs, there's another shared patio up here. Pretty nice outdoor. The lovely view of the city. Top here, clock tower. Super nice.
Being much smaller, Hvar is much less crowded than Dubrovnik, and that's what we liked about it. Being a town that surrounded a port, though, we found it to be absolutely beautiful. Unfortunately, the wind picked up while we were there, and it drove some larger waves through the port. We kind of had a ringside seat to watch the docking follies. I really felt bad for some of these crews, and I helped out where I could. When you tie up here, you have to do something called a med mooring, where a dockhand hands you the lines from the rear of the boat. You got to make sure they don't get tangled in the prop, and then you got to bring them up forward and tie them up to where they anchor to the bottom of the sea floor. It really is somewhat complicated, especially if you've had a few cocktails. Typically, it's all hands on, and there's quite a bit of chaos. Hvar really had some fabulous restaurants, but one thing we found were prices were much higher than they were in Greece. The locals blamed the higher prices on the fact that Croatia went to the euro as currency a few years ago. And maybe that's part of the reason, but prices weren't that high in Greece, and they run on the euro. You could either walk to or take a short ride to a local beach. We found this one, but we really didn't have enough time to hang out at the beach. The coastline near the town is pretty rocky, but we found some enterprising individuals who try and make up for it. 10 euros for a chair on a rock. There are a number of boats you could rent in the Croatian islands on the Dalmatian coast called gulets. I think they're made in Turkey. Traditional wooden boats. I think these are a type of those, and it looks like you could do various excursions. Some where you bring bicycles and they take you from town to town. Others that are just cruising. Typically, they carry larger groups and charter for a week or more. I found these carts to be interesting. It's what the locals use to transport goods from business to business through the narrow streets. You can actually hike up to this fort, but the day we were going to do it, there was a thunderstorm, so we opted out of it. After 2 nights in Hvar, we jumped on a ferry for a quick 45-minute ride to Split, Croatia. Split is a larger port area and also pretty popular for a place to charter sailboats out of. We found Split to be a little bit more working class than Dubrovnik, maybe a little bit less touristy, but still plenty of things to do.
Whoa.
Like Dubrovnik, Split also has a walled city area. It's known as the Diocletian Palace.
Lori,
Yeah,
are you interested in the history, the architecture?
absolutely.
Are you?
Yeah.
These guys all dressed up here, these beautiful columns.
Yep.
Or are you more interested in what they have at this cafe here? Because I saw you looking at the menu. Which one are you interested in?
They all interest me.
The streets within the palace were really cool, and you could spend a couple hours just wandering around and looking at all the architecture. There's plenty of shops, plenty of restaurants.
Oh look, a lovely cafe. Right inside the temple. Pretty cool. Touch of green space in here. You can tell people live here. The locals get real creative with bar seating on steps. We're doing a sunset cruise. Beautiful boat. Lori picked out. It's gonna be a beautiful night. Live music. Excited about it. Open bar. Open bar. Excited about that too.
Nothing you can do that can be done. Nothing you can sing that can be sung. Nothing you can say, but you can learn how to play the game. Anybody like me? Somebody to
Well, on that high note, we'll wrap up this video. I hope you all find somebody to love. And if you do love this channel, please like and subscribe.